Hi guys, my name is Natasha. I am currently 22 weeks pregnant with this baby, and I am a mum to a toddler girl who is nearly 22 months. She'll be 22 months next week, and I am making this video. Obviously you've clicked on it. Should I use reusable nappies, or should I start using reusable nappies? And the reason I'm making this video is because I just want some advice and help in making my decision. I use disposable nappies with Miriam all the way from birth to when we haven't potty trained her yet, so she's still in disposable nappies, and I'm not really thinking of changing that. I'm kind of thinking to keep her in disposable nappies until she potty trains. But with this baby I am considering using reusable nappies. So there are kind of three things that I want to discuss in this video. Firstly, the reasons why I want to use reusable nappies. Secondly, the reasons I'm a bit apprehensive and worried about using reusable nappies. And third, just some of the thoughts that I've had about if we used reusable nappies, what kind of reusable nappies I would use, etc, etc. So please, if you use reusable nappies, or you've tried reusable nappies and you don't like them, or you love them, or you just use disposables, but I don't know, any advice you have and any help that you have for me, I would love you to comment below, because that's what this video is about, basically just trying to get your advice and help as I try and make this decision. So firstly, why I want to use disposable nappies. The main reason for me is the environmental impacts of disposable nappies. Now, I am not, you know, environmental kind of zero waste person at all. I fail in so many ways, but I kind of think that there are little ways that we can reduce our waste, and actually disposable nappies are huge source of waste. I just feel like actually we're in a day and age now where we don't need to be using disposable nappies, that we have kind of the modern washing machines and things like that that can wash them. We don't have to sit there with a pan boiling it like our grandparents did, and I just feel like it would make a huge impact not to use disposable nappies. And the reason as well that a lot of people give is how cost effective it is. Now I've done quite a lot of research into disposable nappies and reusable nappies, and a lot of the research says that kind of shows that reusable nappies are a lot cheaper than disposable nappies. But I think it's mainly comparing it to the big brands like Pampers and Huggies, which I don't use. I just use Aldi's own nappies, Mamiya nappies, which are really super cheap. And actually, when I've worked out the cost of buying nappies for say 2 years and using reusable nappies for 2 years, it's about the same. I think where you save money is when you're using it for more than one child, because then obviously once you've got those nappies, say I used it for Miriam, I would have everything I needed for this baby, and then the cost would be nothing for this baby, even though the cost was the same for Miriam in terms of if I used disposable and non-disposable. And the reason that I'm a bit unsure about the cost is because this is going to be my last baby. So in terms of the cost, for me, it's not going to be that cost effective. But because of the environmental impact, that kind of is worth it for me. I'm not spending more money, it's about the same. So just to talk about some of the things that I'm a bit worried and apprehensive about, and kind of would really appreciate your advice on. One is the smell. I have a disposable nappy bin, an Angel Care nappy bin, and I put her dirty nappies in a scented plastic bag, and then that goes in the plastic bag that's in the disposable bin whose lid's shut. And when I empty that smells. And obviously the nappies in there have been there for a couple of days, but the nappies that are going to be, you know, I don't want to do the washing every day. I kind of want to do the washing maybe every 2 or 3 days, and I'm a bit worried that when I then empty it, there's going to be a smell. I'm a bit worried about how unpleasant that will be, particularly things like the wipes I worry about, because I would probably use liners and get rid of most of the poo out of the nappy and flush that down the toilet. I'm more worried about then the wipes have a lot of poo on them, and whether I hand wash them or rinse them in the sink first before I put them in a wet bag, and things like that. So that's one of the things that I'm a bit worried about. And the other thing is just doing the washing, because disposable nappies are so convenient. You know, you just wrap them up and throw them away. They're convenient when you're out and about. And it's just kind of another thing to do when you've got a newborn and I'll have a toddler. So I'm a little bit worried about that. A lot of people say the laundry is really easy and it's not a worry. The other thing I worry about is the environmental impact of doing 60-degree wash every 2 or 3 days. Because obviously I'm saying that the environmental impact on reusable nappies or disposable nappies is massive, and that's why I'm using reusable nappies. But then if I'm doing a 60-degree wash every 2 or 3 days, and I'm using the tumble dryer, say, obviously I don't have to use a tumble dryer, but then if I didn't use a tumble dryer, I'd need to buy more nappies so that I had that few days of what it will take to dry the nappies. That all has an environmental impact as well, and that has a financial cost as well in terms of washing powder and my energy bills and things like that. The other thing to do with cost that I'm a little bit worried about is the initial, you know, with disposable nappies, I will be paying a certain amount per month, say that I'll get a bundle of nappies that will last me a month and then pay more and more, whereas with reusable nappies you can't really do that. You kind of need to buy everything and have everything there, and I'm a little bit worried about doing that, spending maybe £100 say, and then really hating it and not getting along with it, and then I've kind of spent £100, which was kind of the budget for the first year of disposable nappies. And then having to buy disposable nappies on top of that, and it'll end up costing me more and I won't use it anyway. One of the ways I know I can combat that is that I know that I can sell it, and I know I'm on Facebook groups and things that are selling things second-hand, and I will buy most of the things that I've got second-hand, but I am a little bit worried that I won't actually get the money back from that, and that it'll end up costing me more money in the long run. And the fourth thing that I am a bit worried about is leaking / how often you have to change them, because from what I've heard is that you have to change them every 3 hours, because they will leak through and they don't last as long as disposables, which doesn't worry me in the newborn stage because I would change the baby every 3 hours anyway with the feeds, but it does worry me when they're starting to sleep through the night. So, you know, Miriam, when she was about 6 weeks old, was sleeping maybe 8 hours a night, so she was a really good sleeper, and I wouldn't wake her up to change her nappy, and I wouldn't want her to wake because she felt wet. So I'm a bit worried about that side of things as well, and do they actually last kind of when she's in them at night, will they last 8 hours? The other thing I could do is use a disposable at night but use the reusables in the day. But then again, as she gets older, as this baby gets older, I don't know if it's a boy or girl, sorry, but if this baby gets older, I don't want to be having to change this baby as often as I would change a newborn, like every 3 hours. That just seems a bit absurd to me when, you know, Miriam now is nearly 2 and I change her about 3 times a day, and if I was using disposables and having to change her every 3 hours, that just seems a bit ridiculous to me. Actually, the other thing in thinking about leaking as well is that I slightly worry about, because the babies feel a bit wetter, whether they'll sleep as well and feed as well and things like that, and I'm a little bit worried about all of that because Miriam slept and fed absolutely amazingly, and obviously you get babies in disposable nappies that you'll have one baby that's amazing and then the next baby is really hard work, but I kind of want it to be that it's not the nappies that are causing this baby to wake up because they feel wet and they feel uncomfortable. So I'm a little bit apprehensive about that as well. So this video is already getting quite long, so I'm just going to talk really briefly about what my thoughts are in terms of if I do go to reusable nappies, what I would like to use. So I've said a few things already. Maybe I would like to, I think at the beginning I will get some disposables in so that I have disposables as an option. The other thing that I want to do is get pre-folds and wraps, because I've heard that's very good for newborns. It's also one of the cheapest ways that I can do it, and obviously I'm trying to keep the cost down because I don't know how I'm going to get along with that, so pre-folds just seem like the best option to me. I've also heard that pre-folds don't tend to leak, especially when you do like particular folds with them, and they're a bit more comfortable and obviously cheaper and easier to wash and things like that as well. I've also had advice to get some all-in-ones just in case I end up absolutely loving those, and I've actually got 2 all-in-ones. I don't have them at hand to show you now because I asked, I was at a stay and play and I just asked the nursery nurses that worked there about if there's any scheme or anything they know about reusable nappies, and they had 2 in their cupboard and they just said have them because we rarely get asked about them. There is a place locally that I can borrow nappies from, but I can only borrow it once the baby's born, and I can only borrow them for 3 weeks. And there's a big long waiting list. This baby's due in August, and ideally I would have it all ready and all set up before the baby's born to start using straight away, and I don't really want to have to faff about with that when I have a newborn baby in terms of picking it up and dropping it off and kind of all of that, so I'm probably not going to go for that option. But I do have the 2 all-in-ones that were given to me, and I might get maybe 2 more just to see, just to use them as well as the pre-folds to see if I prefer them. The only problem is that if I do prefer them, and they are much better for me, they're a lot more expensive, and I don't know if I would want to spend the money getting the all-in-ones, because as I say, the cost of that will be a lot more. So I'll end the video here. I think that's all I have to say. Please give me your advice and thoughts. I'd really love to hear from you, especially if you use reusable nappies, and actually if you have tried reusable nappies but you don't like them and the reasons why. Please be honest in the comments and just help me out in trying to make this decision and what your thoughts are. I'd really appreciate that. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!